Hi Tim Reed, this is Tammy Shasser. I wanted to walk you through some of these articles so that you can see what I'm seeing when I look to see if these articles will be appropriate for a quantitative research paper, a quantitative review of literature. So I'm just going to walk you through a few of the ones that you submitted to me in the last bunch. This first one, let's see if I can get it centered. Intentional rounding by the Jenko group. This one, maybe this wasn't the first one. I must not have gone all the way to the top of the screen. But this one describes itself as a pilot project. You start to think it might be a great idea, a great research study, or one that we might be able to use. But then as you go through the terminology used, you find that this is a quality improvement project. Remember, when you're looking for research, of course you want to see the great statistical analysis that we would find in quantitative research, and you do see some of that information here. But when you start looking at the methodology in this study, it says the design was using the Plan, Do, Study, Act framework. That is a quality improvement framework. I know that because I've worked in quality for years, but it's not common knowledge. But that's just one framework that you'll see over and over again. So it pays to keep that in the back of your mind. And then the terminology, the project, when they say the project over and over again, it should start you thinking that this isn't true research because they're calling it a project. Many times in a hospital, we will implement a change and collect data before and after and maybe during the project. But that's different than a research study where, in a project like that, they are making a change in their hospital. Just like implementing rounding. Hourly rounding is a change. But when we do research on it, we're studying it because we don't know if it's the right change to make. Whereas they're already implementing it. So they're collecting data before they do it, during, sometimes, and after. But when we do in a strictly research type of format, it's very rigorous. There's a lot of steps you got to follow, and you have to know that we don't know it's the right answer yet. That's why we're researching it. So this one is quality improvement. It is not okay to use. There are several on your list that. Let's see if this is one. Probably not. Probably didn't go up high enough again. There are a few on here that are doctoral studies, whether they're thesis, dissertation, or doctoral study project. Those are not okay to use because they're not from peer-reviewed journals. When someone does a doctoral study or a dissertation, they have to submit it for publication if they want it to be in a peer-reviewed journal. And we only want to take work from peer-reviewed journals. That's kind of an extra added step in the process that allows quality work. So in a dissertation, for example, while you have a committee of people, usually 2 or 3 people that are reviewing your project, it's not the same as a peer-reviewed study because those people are not your peers, they're your teachers. So I would not choose anything that, I think you had 3 maybe the Mitchell work, there was Mitchell, there was Renzi, and I think there was one more that are thesis, dissertation, they say Walden on them. Avoid those, but you can go into those. When you have to do a dissertation or a doctoral study, you spend hours and hours and hours and days and probably months pulling up the most recent research and data to talk about in your background or introduction section and in the literature review section. So they have done some hard work for you. If you go into one of those studies or all of them, you can review them and see if you can find quantitative research there because they've already pulled things together. So certainly don't discard them. Go into those studies and see if, or those publications really, and see if you can find work that will be beneficial to you. This one, Langley, this is not a research study. This is pulling together evidence on the effects of rounding. So there's no research done with a sample population. Remember, when we were talking about research, we want to find a sample size, cut and dry, specific sample size. We want to find a sampling methodology. We want to find a, sometimes we'll find a framework, but many times you won't. We want to find a methodology section where they give us words like quantitative, qualitative. They give us words like quasi-experimental or experimental. Descriptive, sometimes, a descriptive study can be either quantitative or qualitative, so you'd have to read farther. But of course, we're looking to find quantitative data analysis, many times in the SPSS system or sometimes in other systems as well. So I'm going to create a list for you, or send you back this email that's with a list of all the articles that you sent me and what works and what doesn't. There is only, I'm very sorry to say, because this is an impressive list, there is only one on here that is a firm yes. And that's, I'd take you to it right now, but I don't know where on the list it is. It is the Grealish study, Grealish. That is a 2019 publication. It is good to go. But like I said, the information on here that is from dissertations or doctoral programs, go into those, look to see if you can find references that they talk about that will be beneficial to you. And I was just trying to look at my list to see if there's anything else that would be a good one to go into to see if you could find references. There are a number of really old studies here, 2008, 2010, 2012, that kick them off the list right away. All right, I'm going to send this back to you, and send me more if you want to, or jump into those doctoral studies and see if you can find some information there that will be useful to you.